Washing the tractor. I want it clean, Isabella.
Welcome back to Who's Your Helpers. Got an exciting episode today. I sent out a little teaser video the other day talking about something that came in the mail. And here is what it is. A couple 1.5-inch wheel spacers. I got them off of eBay. I'm going to put a link down in the bottom in the description telling you where I got them and what the part numbers and all that stuff are. So why I went 1.5 inches instead of 2 inches like a lot of other guys? Well, I took a tape measure, strung it across the back, center to center, outside to outside, and I compared that to the center and outside to outside on the front axle. 2 inches would have made the rear axle quite a bit wider than the front axle. And I'm trying to keep that axle to be about as tight in as I possibly can. Definitely want to keep it within the 48 inches of the bucket, but if I can keep it a little bit tighter, this helps when you're in tight spaces. So I went 1.5 inches. Should be more than enough for the work that I do, just broadening out that rear axle. Something else we're going to be doing while we're doing this, I'm going to be installing metal valve stems. So once I get the tractor up, normally I would have just jacked up one side, jerked the wheel off, put the wheel spacer on, torqued it, put the wheel back on, and went to the other. I'm going to have to crib it up because the tires are going to be off the tractor for a while. Do have metal valve stems? That might be a clue into what the next video is going to be. Stay tuned. Thanks. So I'm going to start this by bringing my jack over, and I'm actually going to lift off of the drawbar. The reason for that is I need to have enough space under that rear frame to block it up. I'd use jack stands, but since the frame is just so tight in on this tractor right now especially, I don't know that I'm going to be able to get a jack stand in there. So we're going to crib it up. It's a little tippy there, but it'll be all right. So that blocks it. Try that. It's still skewed to one side. So if you didn't hear that, or if I might have edited it out, I'm doing away with the idea of trying to use jack stands or cribbing. I can't get the tractor to set balanced well enough, so I'm just going to jack one side up, take the wheel off, we'll crib it up at that point, after that one wheel is off, break the bead down, replace the valve stem, and then go to the other side. So now that we have the tire off, I can put the jack stand under the axle. We'll set the tractor down on that. Then we're going to go ahead and install the wheel spacer. Make sure that dirt is kind of cleared off. Otherwise, what can happen is that dirt can work itself out, and then it'll be just a little bit looser there. That socket's not going to go in there, so I'm going to have to get a thinner socket. That was a 1/2 inch drive. I have to go back to a 3/8 drive socket because it's just a little too thick for that. The manual says to torque these to 80 to 95 foot-pounds, so I'm going to go to 90. And with this socket, it's a spark plug socket is what it is. You can put another socket on the outside. Since it's 3/8 drive and I don't have a 3/8 to 1/2 inch adapter, and I only have a 1/2 inch torque wrench, run all of them. should do it. We'll spin these off and get it ready for the wheel when we're done with that. So next up, we're going to go ahead and let the air out of this tire. So I'm just going to pull the cap off. We've got a Schrader remover tool, just a standard one. In there. So both of these tires, both the rear tires, I replaced within the last year. The first tire I took off, I knew when I bought the tractor it was bad. It was setting about an inch taller than the other one, so the tractor was always leaning. I knew the cords were broken down on that one, so I bought one new tire. When I got it, the other side was setting about a half inch taller than it. So when I bought the second new tire, then the tractor set level. Hoping they weren't seated on too well, but they are. So not gonna fight it. I don't have a tire hammer, so we're gonna do the alternative method. Trick is, without that other tire on there, I'm too heavy on this side. So what I'm going to do, I guess, tomorrow is run the tires over to a tire shop. Just have them break the beads. I don't want them to do anything other than that. And then actually I only need them to break the one bead, just so I can push it down enough, slip the valve stem in, and then I'll tighten the nut. Hopefully they pop back out and they seat pretty good, because the next project is going to require them to be fully seated. So anyway, I'll be back in just a few. Thanks. So I ended up going over to the local Walmart, and I just had them break the outside bead down where the valve stem, so I can get to that. What you can see here is you should be able to reach in with a pair of side cutters and cut that. And what I'm trying not to do is drop the rubber chunk down in the tire if possible. So try to get a hold of that. Grab a pair of needle nose here so I can get down on the chunk of rubber that's in the tire. Get a good grip on it, and then I'll just finish cutting from the outside that valve core. There we go. Push through the hole, and out we are. What I picked up from just the local auto parts store are these slime metal valve stems. Same ones I use in my G1800. I haven't had any problems there. What they come with is a small adapter and then a larger one, so depending on the hole size in your rim. Got a nut, a washer, cut off. We don't need the larger one for these rims. Okay, so there's that. We'll grab the smaller rubber adapter or seal, slip it back onto the valve stem, make sure it's all the way down. There's a bit of a shoulder, it looks like, on the valve stem that it has to slip up on. So you can see there, it's all the way in. Let this slip down in here. Okay. Get that rubber started all the way around. Might not be a bad idea to have my lubricant.
hand down in here and press it in as much as I can. Washer, if I can get my nail under it. Slip that over the valve stem. And then nut. Get it started. Now we're gonna get air in this tire, and it looks like it should seat pretty easy. So before I get too carried away, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the valve core from the tire. All right, so I mentioned that I took the valve core out because you can take, basically, you can take the end of your air hose and go directly over your valve stem with the valve core removed, and that will get you the most volume of air all at once so that we can kind of seat this bead. So let's try it. I'm gonna go ahead and spray a little lube around that. It's already starting to come up. Since the bead's already coming up and it's sealed up good enough to ride on out, I'm gonna go ahead and put the valve core back in before I finish airing it up. And I'll just use a regular air check from here on out on this tire. So I put 25 PSI in it to make sure that bead's seated well. That's not what the pressure will end up being. I'll back it off to probably 20 pounds once we're back on the tractor and everything. Wipe off that. But I was getting some bubbles around the bead there that I wanted to go ahead and put a little more pressure in. And I believe the tires say 20 PSI, so yeah, we're definitely a little high on pressure. But make sure that tire seated well. Set this out of the way, we're gonna do the next. Now we're going to focus on putting this tire on the left side of the tractor on first, because that spacer's already been torqued. The other side has not been torqued because I had to have something on the ground. Set it down on the ground and torque it. Okay, so those are all torqued to 90 foot-pounds. Now we can go around the other side and torque the other hub. Alright. Now we're going to put this wheel on. Alright, I'm going to do one more thing here. Spoiler, and rotate the valve stem to the top. About there.